Oh, hey there, this is Dr. Evan Osar with Integrative Movement Insider. Happy Monday. Hope you had a great weekend. Janice and I just got back from 2024 DCAC FitCon. Thank you to all the fitness professionals for joining our sessions. We did a session on breathing for restoration and recuperation. We did a session on corrective exercise for the low back, as well as corrective exercise for the shoulder. Thank you to Jamie and her husband David and all the great volunteers this past weekend for making a great event. You just saw me doing some stairs. Why was I doing some stairs? Step ups, actually, I was doing step ups. Step ups are one of the best exercises we can do for our clients with hip osteoarthritis. And if you actually look at the study that I put next to this post here, or in the post, I should say, there's a 2021 research study that just came out suggesting that people, those individuals that did 5 flights of stairs or more a day, so just 5 flights of stairs or more a day, had a 7 to 9% increase in all-cause mortality. I should say increase in longevity and a decrease in all-cause mortality. Not meaning that the more steps they did, the more they died. No, actually, the more steps they did, so 5 steps, 5 flights of stairs or more, the decrease in all-cause mortality they had. Now, the challenge for lots of our clients are, number one, they don't do stairs very well. Number two, there's a risk of them falling. And number three, lots of individuals or older folks have knee pain or hip pain, hip osteoarthritis, that prohibits them from doing stairs. And maybe they don't even have stairs in their house, as I mentioned. So how do we adequately and appropriately prepare our clients for doing stairs? Well, that's your step-up pattern. And I believe that all individuals should be doing step-ups. And what's a precursor to doing a step up appropriately? That's a split squat. So let me bring you over here. Let's talk about the split squat. I've talked about it many times in our post, but let's review that just for a moment, because the step up is one of the best patterns that we have for loading the lower extremity. It's basically a hinge pattern. The split squat is basically a modified hinge pattern. So let me step back here a little further. Let me angle this up just a little bit. So the split squat is, as I mentioned, the precursor to a step up, because essentially what we're doing with a split squat is we have our client align their head and neck to the best of their ability, stack the rib cage over top of their pelvis, then step back with one leg. And then it's really just from here, just a hip hinge to load that front hip. So they're basically loading the front hip and then coming back up, loading that front hip, coming back up. Now, a lot of our clients will say, oh, I got knee pain on my back knee. Well, that's because they're putting too much weight back onto the back knee. So if I do that, lots of pressure on this back knee. So if I sit back into this back leg, lots of pressure on the back leg. But what we want to do is keep the weight forward. So hinging from that forward hip. So I load the front hip. So I load the posterior component, the glutes and the external hip rotators of that front hip. And then that's ultimately what lifts me up. The step up just becomes a version of that pattern. So if you watch me here doing my split squat, and then if I go into a step up, the step up here is I'm positioning myself up over the top of the step. And now I just step up and then hinge to come back down. Step up and then hinge to come back down. So that way I'm loading that front hip, very little pressure on my front knee and or my back knee. Because what you see clients doing, these are two different things they will often do incorrectly. Number one is they're not loading their hip to begin with. They're back here on their back leg. So how do they get up from here? They either push up off the back leg and then they drop down. And they just drop down. So they're pushing up off the back leg. They're really not really working a whole lot of muscles at all. Or what they're going to do is they're going to hyperextend that front knee to step up. And like, oh, that hurts my knee. And again, not using their hips very well. So I want to pre-position my client so they're hinged forward, so they're pre-stretching that posterior hip complex, so the glutes, external hip rotators, and hamstrings. Then they drive up and then back down. Drive them up and back down. And until they can do that properly, they should not have a higher step. So this is usually a great step height for most people to begin with. Obviously, as they get more advanced, you go up a little bit higher, but they have to be able to start from this position to do it appropriately. Ultimately, you want to keep the pelvis relatively level, so hinge forward, up, and then back down. They don't need to bring the leg up to single leg, but just so you can see the progression of this pattern. And again, they should feel it in their posterior hip. It's one of the best exercises for the posterior hip complex. Teaches them how to hinge properly, how to load the posterior hip complex, and more importantly, or as importantly, how to control that eccentric phase coming back down. And that's basically going downstairs or lowering one's body down towards the floor. And that's what our clients need. Now, obviously, you need to do your assessments. You need to do some myofascial release and or other work to help your client set up for success. But that's how you perform it. Split squat. Make sure your client can split squat first, then take the split squat right into a step up. Use the appropriate height. Most of our clients are using a height that's too large. They're using a strategy that's not optimal for loading that posterior hip complex. Number three, then teach them how to hinge, step up, step back, controlling the eccentric phase of the pattern. There you have a perfect step up, and then that leads to steps. Get your clients doing step ups and or stairs if you have them in your gym. Help them safely and effectively manage stairs because, again, like I said, the more they use the posterior hip complex, it's strengthening. So it's developing strength, developing balance, developing coordination, and just as importantly, it's helping them gain confidence. Most of our clients don't like stairs because they don't feel confident on them because of mobility, stability, and or strength issues. So again, you give them a lot of confidence and ultimately give them their independence, either help maintain independence and or many clients will develop and regain their independence. So this is Dr. Evan Osar with Integrative Movement Insider. Hope that makes sense. Try it out. And if you're looking for more information, we have a three-part series, webinar series coming up on hip osteoarthritis, exercises for low back pain, as well as breathing to improve posture and performance. It's coming up this fall. We're back to doing our webinar series. We haven't done this all year long just for a variety of reasons. So we look forward to seeing you on the webinar series. We'll have more information here in the coming weeks. Look forward to seeing you on that. And until then, continue to be that leader that your current clients need, giving them strategies to help them live independent and successful lives, give them that great education and empower them to take control of the things that are within their control, their mindset, their actions, and how they can use exercise to increase longevity and independence. Thanks so much for watching. Thanks for being part of our community. We look forward to seeing you next time here at Integrative Movement Insider. If you have any questions, feel free to put them next to this post and I will answer them. Make it a great day. We'll see you soon.